Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to another card video. Actually, I have a card set today. I'm giving it to my daughter's teacher for Christmas. So I'm going to show you how I made the blue one. I started out with all white cardstock and I used the Hero Arts old letter stamp. And I'm just putting some Versamark on there and I'm going to stamp it. It doesn't quite cover the whole piece, so I'm going to have to stamp it twice. Probably recognize my scrap piece of paper there. I've used it about 1,000,000 times. Okay, so now I've got some white embossing powder, so I'm going to just do some white on white just to make sure it's really bright when I go over it with the Distress ink. And today I decided to use all of my Tim Holtz Distress inks just to mix it up a little. And then I'm heating it up to make the powder melt, and that will set it and resist the ink. And you'll see that whenever I do that, I actually heat the bottom side of the cardstock, and that will help with the warping, so it's not quite so bent and bumpy. Alright, so I start with some broken china, and I'm just going to apply that all over. This is a baby wipe, and it's not taking off any really of the ink, it's just clearing it off the white embossed areas. And then I'm spritzing it with a bunch of water because the water spots don't show up as well as they do on the Stampin' Up! Cardstock. I'm using some Neenah cardstock this time. This is Hero Arts Wildflower Garden, and I'm going to stamp the flower in scattered straw. So this is yellow. And then I've slowed this down a little bit. So this is broken china to match the background. And I roll it around the edges very carefully of the flower. So you can see I have blue just on the tips of the flower. Speed it back up, and I've got a Wild Wasabi pen that I'm just going to go over the stem at the top. And then I'm going to take my ink pad and do the bottom. And now my stamp is ready to go, so I'm just going to stamp it on some more Neenah Solar White cardstock. And go and just color over that to darken up the stem a little bit. Now I'm putting some Distress ink on my craft sheet, and I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to add some blue dots, some broken china dots in the middle to match the edges of the flower. And then we're just kind of shade around the circle. And as I started moving out more from the circle, you'll see what I just did with the blue. I was not planning on doing that because I wasn't going to color in the petals, but then I tried to fix it a little bit, it didn't work out, and then I decided I was just going to color all the petals. So I went ahead and used my blender pen to use the Distress ink to color in all the petals. So it's just light blue, and it kind of looks nice. I like it. I'm using a corner chomper in the 1/2 inch measurement to do a kind of a large rounded corner, and then I'm using old paper Distress ink, and I'm not going all the way to the center. I'm going to leave the center white to kind of leave the flower with a bright background. This is brushed corduroy, and I'm just doing the very edges to create a frame. This is a Sizzlet, and it's so cool. It's got this tag in it. I just love the shape of it. I'm just using a little dimensional to stick it to my craft sheet. And I'm using a whole set of the same sentiments. I mean, they're different sentiments, but they're all the same style. And so this one I'm going to make Get Well. I'm using my Stamp-A-Majig so I get it just right on my little tag. And then I'm going to color it the same as that flower, so old paper all over, and then I'm going to do brushed corduroy on the edge. Now when I do the brushed corduroy on the edge, because this piece of paper is so small, I'm going to use a spun dauber that fits over my finger and just makes a little tiny frame. I'm just going to mark some holes. I'm going to use my 1/16 handheld punch to punch the holes. And then linen thread, I'm just going to thread it through my tag. going to adhere my flower piece to my background. And then I'm just going to use some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, just foam adhesive on the back to make the sentiment pop. And then I just apply some adhesive to the back and wrap the linen thread around. I'm going to create a bow using my linen thread and set that aside for a minute, and I'm going to use my ATG gun again, and I'm going to put it on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 folded card, and I'm leaving a white edge this time. That's crystal, it's like super glue, and I put the bow right on there. And that's it. Now I'm not done yet because I'm going to show you how I packaged all these cards up. So I went offline and created the rest of the colors. I slowed it down a little bit so you can see that a little longer. Now here's my measurement. It's 6 3/8 by 4 inches, and then I scored it and folded it in half. So now I've got 2 inches by 6 3/8. And I'm going to do the same coloring, the old paper and the brushed corduroy. And I'm just going to write a little message here. I had to think about it for a while. This is from my daughter's teacher, so I'm just going to handwrite the message from our fee. I'm going to take that wildflower stamp, and I spent a bunch of time trying to figure out here, and finally I used that same technique, and I used the Dusty Concord and the barn door, and then I just wrote the message, Merry Christmas. So this is a, I can't remember the measurements, I think it's 5 by 8 cellophane bag that Stampin' Up! Sells, and it fits perfectly with 5 cards and 5 envelopes. And I'm just putting some adhesive on there, and I'm just going to lay my bag flat on the back side, and then pop. And that's pretty much it. That's the gift. So hope you enjoyed it, and hope you got a good idea for your own teacher gifts if you have to do those. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.